Alright, so I'm going to try and do this all in one take without editing or without too much editing. So basically about, well, for those of you who are watching, you might already be aware, but my friend Seabolt Speaks is doing the MIA Massive Immersion approach for Japanese. And he's been talking about it on his YouTube channel as well as his Twitter. And I'll link his channel as well as the MIA website down below in the description. But he's been doing Japanese for, I want to say like 2 months now for him. And he's talked about it. He's had a lot of success with it. So I started reading, about a month ago, I started reading about MIA. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try and go for it because I'm trying to study Japanese. I've been working through my textbook, but I feel like I kind of wanted to up it a little more. So, in seeing him talk about his experience with MIA and how that's like clicking for him now, I decided I'm going to try and give it a try with Japanese as well. So this is about a month and a few days after I started. It's been about a month now, basically, since I tried to do MIA / all Japanese all the time, AJAT, which I know they're similar but different, but they both involve a lot of like massive input. So constantly surround yourself with Japanese. My goal to start for the first 30 days was simply like 1 hour a month. And as you can see from my beautiful spreadsheet, I have both Japanese and Spanish here. There's a reason for that. So to start off though, if I had to give the first month either like a pass or fail grade, like I sadly think I failed if I had to grade myself. But I also feel like it was a bit of a learning experience and it put me in a different mindset. More so with Spanish than the Japanese right now. So my Spanish is still better than my Japanese, of course. And with Spanish, I'm trying to read a lot and watch television a lot. Now I'm doing the super challenge for Spanish. I'm doing a double super challenge because I'm insane. Where the regular super challenge is to read 100 books and watch 100 films. And 50 pages of a book counts as a book for the challenge. And I think it's 90 minutes of a film counts for one film per the challenge rules. And it's also limited. Like, I'm only sticking with books for reading. And for the audio film section, I'm sticking with films, television, and audiobooks. I don't think I'm putting podcasts in there. Maybe. I don't think I am. Yeah, I didn't do podcasts. So this is what I've been doing with Spanish. Look at all that listening and my reading in progress because I read like multiple books at once. But I'm doing a double challenge, so it's like what I just said times 2 for Spanish. And I was also just keeping track of like Italian and then Japanese over here, but I'm not as focused on those. It's mostly Spanish. Because my goal with that is to get Spanish up to like a level. I get it to a level where I can be comfortable with like listening and just enjoying the media in Spanish and reading. And I become way more comfortable in reading lately, but I gotta work on my listening. So because I have those goals for Spanish, I thought maybe I should track it with my Japanese. I'm also like really, this past month and last month, I was very focused on just Japanese and Spanish as opposed to any other languages. So because these have been my 2 main focuses for a couple months now, April and May, I decided to track both Japanese and Spanish on my MIA AJAT spreadsheet. And I also wanted to see if I could balance the 2 languages, especially if I'm doing a lot of audio listening. And I wanted to see if like spending a lot of time in Spanish affected how I spent my time in Japanese, which, as you can see down here, I had 544 minutes of Japanese total for the first 30 days, the first month, which is about 9 hours, and then 1,136 minutes of Spanish, about 18, 19 hours. And so neither one of them got to 30 hours for a month, 1 hour a day, about. But together, 28 hours of listening. So this made me realize a couple of things. There were some instances where I would like start listening in Spanish. Went too far down. Where I would like start listening in Spanish, and I would be like motivated to move over to Japanese because I'm like in my language groove. But as you can see over here, Spanish kind of like took over, and I was just way more focused on Spanish. It's also easier to listen to Spanish and just like enjoy it more than Japanese. Not so much because the Japanese content wasn't interesting, but because like I guess I found the Spanish content a little bit easier to understand and a little more interesting. I got really into like a couple. There's a Peruvian drama I started watching, and then I started watching a telenovela, and I got really into that. So it's easier to find Spanish resources, especially living in the United States. Like I can open up Hulu or Netflix and easily find a show in Spanish. I mean, I can find a lot of Japanese stuff too. It's just I got really into Spanish. So, it's also, I don't know, it's easier to find books in Spanish too, but I love Spanish, so I got really into Spanish, that's all. Aside from that, it's also a fail with Japanese, because I haven't really done any Anki reviews. I've done a few flashcard reviews, but it's nothing really significant. And I should also just mention that, like, there were days here where, like, I obviously wasn't listening every day. I don't know what happened here. I don't know what. Probably something with work and me being tired. But, like, there were days where, like, I might not have done a lot of listening, or I might not have done any listening, but I'm also working out of my textbook, which is Japanese for Busy People, Volume 2. So I might have spent like an hour doing that instead. I didn't keep track of the days for that. I just keep track of like the total time spent. Like, here's my total time spent for May right here. So like, I have a personal goal of 900 minutes a month or 30 minutes a day, assuming a month is 30 days. So obviously in May I've already hit this with Spanish and Japanese as well. So those are my two main focuses right there, and for some reason of time. So I've spent like time studying in my textbook as well as listening, and I did do some reading in Japanese. So I started reading some manga in a children's book. But back to this. So basically, like, I'm not only focusing on the input, basically, like from audio sources, from YouTube, basically. I'm getting back off track. So my point is with Anki, I like didn't really do any Anki reviews. It's not exciting, and that's part of the reason why I failed. I know that, and I just have to Anki doesn't get me like excited and enthusiastic about learning languages and reviewing flashcards. But I think it is important, and I think it's something one should do, and I think it's something I have to just like suck it up and do it. I was thinking of doing like a reward system where like if I finish all my Spanish cards for the day, I get a point. If I finish all my Japanese cards for the same day, I get a point. And then I accumulate points, and I can spend points on things like buying an ebook. I mean, I have Kindle Unlimited, but like sometimes you want to buy a book too, or sometimes it's not on Kindle Unlimited. So like X points equals a book to buy, or like X points equals like X minutes of YouTube in English, because I'm trying to get rid of English, but maybe I can use that as like a little reward because I still want to follow a couple of people. So I was thinking maybe doing a reward system for Anki, but it might just be something I have to like put some background noise on, like some TV, or if that's too distracting, some music, and then just open up the flashcards and just do it. Because I've done Anki cards before, like years ago. I'm really bad with them. And I do think they help, especially at a beginner's level. I'm just so lazy with flashcards. I don't know if there's another way to review without flashcards, but I also feel like they help and I should just suck it up. I use Anki like very on and off. I used to be like diligent with it years ago, where I was doing it like every day or practically every day, but now I'm just like, if I feel like it. And I just can't, like, I gotta figure out a way to just force myself to do it. Just sit down and do it, basically. But I didn't track Anki at all, and that's part of, I think, why I failed at Anki, because I didn't track it. It wasn't there. There wasn't a column. I wasn't like, oh, I need to do my flashcards, because I didn't see it. So that's a big reason why I wasn't successful. But also, and as you can see, I'll show you, I set up next month. Well, hold on. The other thing is, like, I got really into Spanish, which is a good thing. But I really kind of stopped MIA in Japanese because of it. And I show that number down here. 28 hours total, but it's split between the two languages. 9 hours, 18, 19, whatever. Like, it's split, so it's not as satisfying to see that 28. If it was 28 in Spanish, I'd be like, oh, that's almost an hour a day. But, so I know recently, too, Matt was talking about how, like, you should focus on one language. And if you focus on two, it's going to take twice as long to learn both of them. And that's good advice, that you should focus on one until you get it to, like, a really high level, like, I guess B2, they say. People in general say B2. Which is basically, I think, fluency. It's not, like, native fluency, but it's, like, a really high level of fluency. So you should do that. You should study one language until you get to that level before you start another one. Otherwise, it'll take you twice as long, and you might confuse them, and it's a lot for your brain to handle. And in general, I agree with that advice. I feel like my Spanish is already at, like, it's definitely at a higher level than Japanese, and it's definitely higher than, like, a complete beginner. I'm, like, terrible with figuring out where I'm actually at with Spanish. I can't, like, I would say grade myself. I don't really know what level to give myself. I can't self-evaluate. I can't speak English. But, I mean, it's definitely higher than just, like, a complete beginner. Like, high beginner, low intermediate, somewhere around there maybe. I don't know. I'm more comfortable with reading than anything else. But, but you should, in general, wait until you get one language up to a very high level of proficiency before you start another one. And in general, I agree with that. But then I was also thinking, I don't really need to learn these languages. It's a hobby. I'm not going to move to Japan. I'm not going to move to a Latin American country. I'm pretty much doing this for fun. So does it really matter if it takes me longer to reach fluency? And then what level of fluency is my goal? Like, do I want to start studying, like, academics in Japanese or something? I just really want to, like, enjoy dramas and read in Japanese. Read literature and manga because I've read Japanese literature in translation English. I want to be able to read it in the original Japanese. That's a big motivation for me. But I'm also like, I mean, when I was like younger, in high school, middle school, I did watch anime and I did read a lot of manga. But as I've gotten older, I've stopped watching as much anime. Ignore the cat. And yeah, I stopped watching as much anime, but like I still have a general interest in Japanese culture. Like Japanese art has influenced me. I find Japanese history and history in general interesting. Japanese concepts like wabi sabi. Yeah, that's what it is. Interests me. Learning about Shinto interests me. Just learning about it. Learning, like, there's a lot of things about Japanese that in Japan that still interests me. And like Japanese art has influenced me. I said that. And I like Japanese literature, so I want to still learn Japanese, and I do still like the occasional anime. And I'm getting back into manga again. So I mean, I still have motivation for Japanese, basically. But I don't plan to live there, so it doesn't really matter if it takes me longer to learn Japanese. So, on that note, I set up the next 2 months already in my spreadsheet, and I set it up for both Japanese and Spanish. But I'm also thinking, because this number right here, these totals down here are not satisfying to me, and I'm also really motivated for Spanish right now, so I'm thinking, would it be better to do all Spanish all the time, but continue to work in my Japanese textbook? So finish Finish Japanese for Busy People Volume 2 and Volume 3, and then go into MIA with Japanese and kind of put Spanish not fully aside, but like do less Spanish. You can't be up here, baby. I don't want to edit this. Don't jump up here. So I'm trying to think, would it be better to stop MIA in Japanese and get back to it like in August or 3 months from now, or even in December, 6 months from now, and just focus on all Spanish all the time? Would that be a better solution? Or do I continue with both and just put more, like force myself to get in the habit of doing both Spanish and Japanese? So on that note, I've set up my spreadsheet for the next 2 months. So we go from May 25th until July 23rd. So that's 60 days. That's how I'm doing it. So as you can see, it's not the 29th when I'm filming this, and I haven't really touched Japanese except for Anki reviews, but that's not entirely correct because I have been working in my textbook. It's just not on this spreadsheet. And it won't be. So, what the heck? As you can see though, in the Spanish side, I've just been like motivated for the Spanish. So, oh, I hit the webcam. So, over here, okay, so let's go through this. This is the Japanese side. What I want to say. Alright, so I have it set up listening active, where I'm actually watching the media, and listening passive, where it's just playing in the background. Then I have Anki review, and this is all in minutes. And then the total minutes is just listening, not Anki. And so for stage 1 of MIA, you want 1,000 vocab cards in Anki and 2,000 sentence cards. So currently I have 785 vocab cards, and that's including vocabulary from my textbook, and I have 74 sentences. I haven't been focusing on sentences. And it's vocab and grammar for the 1K cards. So, how do I want to say this? Oh, and I have to start to remember in the kanji. Like, I kind of just wanted to skip that, but I should probably try it. What did I want to say at this point? I'm trying to remember because I don't want to edit things. Oh, so I've heard somewhere that this, or I read it somewhere that this stage 1, should take about 6 months. But at the end, you're supposed to be able to understand like 50% of whatever you listen to. And to be honest, it might take me longer than that if I'm doing Japanese alongside Spanish. Oh, those are my notes. Oh, I lost the internet connection. Oh, whatever. Alright. So I'm still going to track Japanese and see how it goes for the next 60 days. But I think Spanish might take over for the next at least 30 days. Because I also have a sort of like curriculum kind of planned out for myself, which includes way more Spanish than anything else. Including like some Coursera courses in Spanish, taught in Spanish. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll record my time though. We'll reflect again 60 days from now. But I have a feeling Spanish is going to become a priority for at least the next 30 days. And it might take me longer to finish stage 1 of MIA for Japanese. And for Spanish over here, oh, some notes for myself. So I've actually been listening to a lot of Spanish so far. I've got 471 total minutes, or like 7, almost 8 hours of listening. Monday I started off strong, but that's because I was working from Sunday evening into Monday morning. So as soon as it hits midnight, it's now Monday, so I count listening then, and it was a very slow night, so I got a lot of listening in. And I have work later. No, tomorrow, sorry. I have work tomorrow and Sunday, and I'm doing like 2 16-hour shifts. And the only way I'm going to get excited about work is if I get to do a lot of listening. So, because I'm going to be so tired, overnight shifts, 16 hours. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. So I started off strong with Spanish already. And as far as vocab cards, I got over 1,000 vocab cards. But I found that I don't really make sentence cards. So I'm going to try to make more sentence cards and Anki. And I did download that program that lets you... So I downloaded a couple extensions and programs that let you download like Netflix videos and then download subtitles. And then I downloaded that program that subs to SRS, I think it's subs to SRS, which lets you translate subtitles into flashcards, and it takes like images from the video as well. So it matches the video audio with the subtitles in both languages, and it makes flashcards for you. So I'm going to be using that more. And there's not much more really to say. So these are my goals. Eventually I want to get 10k sentences. I think that's the end goal there. I don't know how long it will take me. I'm just trying to focus on a lot of listening in Spanish. So I'm already off to a good start there. Japanese, not really. But, my plan for the next 60 days is to continue tracking both Japanese and Spanish to see how that goes. And I have an Anki column, so hopefully that makes me review flashcards. And maybe if I review flashcards in Japanese, I'll understand things more. That's the idea. So, yeah, I have no way of making flashcards fun, though. So I think I just have to suck it up. That's more or less it. I don't think there's much else to really say right now. Not that I can think of. It's like so hot out right now and humid that I think my brain is just shutting off too. But yeah, so I'm excited to get going to continue this, especially with Spanish, which is my new love. And month 1, not too great, to be honest. But I learned where I failed. I learned why I failed. Anki and trying to balance 2 languages. I have to decide if I want to continue to try and balance 2 languages. I think it's a skill I'm going to eventually have to develop because I want to learn like 5 languages to various levels. At least 5. So I think it's a skill I'm going to have to eventually learn to balance out the languages. I can't just like spend all my time listening to Spanish because it's fun, but at the same time I need the Spanish listening, for now at least. So I don't know if I want to continue splitting my time or if I'm going to just focus on Spanish. I'm leaning towards focusing on Spanish for the next 30 days, just because this is not satisfying to me. But I'm going to go back, yeah, because if I focus on Spanish for the next 30 days and I continue to work on my Japanese textbook and maybe read up again or some more on MIA, maybe I can, like, get back into Japanese. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm going to keep track of my time for both languages, see how it goes overall. Overall, first month, not that great, but a learning experience. I need to do my Anki reviews, and I need to be more diligent with listening each day to Japanese as well as Spanish. And that's more or less it so far. There's not much more to say. I haven't really noticed, like, any real improvement with Japanese, but I'm also still very much a beginner. And I've, like, studied a little bit in high school before on my own, so, like, some of the basics I can easily remember. But I'm still very much a beginner, so it's going to take a while. With Spanish, I feel like I'm becoming way more comfortable listening in Spanish. Depending on the content I'm listening to, some of it's been easier than others. But I've watched a lot of, like, YouTube videos, people's daily vlogs, daily life vlogs, cleaning videos, quarantine videos, makeup tutorials and cooking videos. And I've been watching a lot of, like, dramas, telenovelas. There's people outside. So I've been watching this Peruvian one, El Último Bastión. I watched some documentaries. And El Clone is the other one I'm watching, and I'm really into right now, as you can see. I'm gonna go watch another episode next. I'm like literally yelling at the TV at this point because people doing stupid things in my drama. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I feel better in Spanish than in Japanese, which is pretty obvious. So I'm going to go forward. I'm just repeating myself now. I'm going to continue to track both languages and see if there's any improvement after 60 days. And that's all I really have to say. I guess leave a comment. Let me know your opinion. Should I try to balance both Japanese and Spanish? Should I focus on only Spanish for the next 3-ish months or so? Should I do remembering the kanji because I'm kind of lazy? I don't know if I want to go through all that. Or should I just continue to do, like, my vocab cards and sentence cards? I already can guess the answer to that question. And let me know, I guess, if you have any favorite YouTubers for Japanese or Spanish, or if you're doing MIA as well, and how that's going for you. Other than that, I'll be back probably in the next 60 days with another little update with this lovely spreadsheet right here.